Yo, what's up guys and gals, Jacob Karash here from TV10 Studios, and today we're going to be talking about my current YouTube setup. Now I know my setup changes quite a lot, and that's mainly because I've got so much going on, and to be honest, my room's not clean, and I have a foster dog that I'm taking care of right now. She's living in my room, her kennel, and, well, her in general. She takes up a lot of space in here, so I can't really figure out the proper setup until we can find a good home for her. And so I'm just going to talk about what the setup I have now is, and this is going to be what I'm going to be using for probably the next week or two until we can find a home for Birdie, the dog that you saw in the last video. And yeah, but there's so much going on here, so let's just get right into the video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is camera. What camera am I using? I'm currently filming on the Sony a7 III at 4K at 24 frames per second. My exact settings are something I probably wouldn't use in a real world situation. In fact, I personally don't like the settings I'm using right now, mainly due to the fact that I'm using a kit lens, so it's not super fast glass. It's got a variable aperture, and I'm very limited. So hopefully I'll be able to get a 24-70 f2.8 pretty soon, so we can get back to some lower ISO content. But luckily Sony is known for having very high ISO capabilities and still be able to have incredible images coming out of it. So I'm glad out of all the cameras, I'm using a Sony camera at a high ISO. So I'm currently shooting at 1/50th shutter speed f5 and ISO 2000 in S-Log 2. I noticed since this is an 8-bit camera, the S-Log 3 is just way too much for it, and you really lose some serious detail in the shadows. It's noisy, it's grainy, and looks very unprofessional. Now I'm using my own custom S-Log 2 profile. What I'm actually doing is I have most of the settings exactly the same, but I noticed that since it's an 8-bit camera and its S-gamut is not actually S-gamut. It's an emulation of the Cinema S-gamut, so it's not 100% accurate, and you lose a lot of color detail in the 422 image. And I have a big issue with that, so what I did is instead of using the S-gamut color mode, I use the Pro color mode. Personally, I like the Rec 709 or the Pro color mode. I like the Pro color mode better, mainly because it's more accurate when it comes to its blues, its reds, and its greens, and so I'm like, it just overall looks much better. Something I noticed with the Rec 709 version, or the ITUX Matrix, whatever, 709, was the blues turned out to look very purple-like, and it wasn't quite accurate to what I saw with my own eye. So the Pro looked a little bit better and was much more accurate compared to movie, still, or cinema. I also have the saturation on it pumped up to +5, just to make sure I do have that color data, because I can just take away data in post-production when I color grade this. The lens that I'm using is the 28 to 70 millimeter kit lens, the f3.5 to f5.6. Came with the camera, incredible piece of glass, although I would like to upgrade some point in the future. I'm currently set to, I believe, 65 millimeters or so. Personally, I think that looks the most flattering on my face and does not have the camera way too far away from me. And it's plenty of space in my really small room. The tripod I'm using is an old, I think, early 2000s Manfrotto tripod, the 3130. It was one my dad used to use back in the day, and I kind of just took it from him, and I've been using it ever since. The lighting setup that I currently have is a Neewer a Neewer CB 60 watt LED studio light with their portable softbox on it and 2 layers of diffusion. And that is currently standing on an Amazon Basics light stand, something that's super cheap but surprisingly durable. If you're just starting out, I really do suggest Amazon Basic light stands. They're incredible, they're super durable. I've had this one thrown around and used even as a sword, and it works incredibly and has not broken on me at all, and I've had this for a little over 2 years now. Now, what I had to do was have a bounce card, so I have a white styrofoam, project board right next to me that's bouncing the light from the Neewer 60 watt light off of it and hitting my face to get some nice fill light, since I did not want to grab out my other studio light to do different fill light. Plus, since of how closed in my room is and how much space I currently have to work with since the dog's here, I need something that's a little bit more compact and easier to take down and set back up. Now, I'm not recording on my usual audio setup. I'm currently using the Shure SV100 connected to my computer and running through Audacity right now. This is my main streaming microphone for my gaming channel, or if you Zoom call me or anything like that, this is the microphone that you'd be listening from. I believe this microphone came out in the early 2000s. I might be wrong, but it's got great sound quality. I love this dynamic microphone. That's why I love using it for streams. And when I don't want to use a lavalier microphone, or if I'm close to my desk like I am now, I'd much rather use this dynamic microphone than any other microphone I own. This microphone was also taken from my dad. He no longer does film or anything like that, so a lot of the gear that he used to use, I use now, and has made my workflow absolutely so much easier. And overall, less expensive, because if the gear sounds and works incredibly well, why get new stuff when it works perfectly now? Unless you need an absolute upgrade. So now, the first camera I had was the Canon Rebel T3. That had a fixed screen on the back, so I had to use an external monitor. I bought an Neewer F100, cheap, I think I spent like 90 bucks on it, monitor, HDMI capable, and I used that for the longest of time. But eventually, after that, I needed to upgrade my camera, so I donated that camera to my school, and then I upgraded to the Nikon D4. That also had a fixed back screen, and so I still use that monitor for all of my videos. In fact, in the video behind me, some of the footage was, that footage right there was filmed on the Nikon D4 using that monitor as well. But as soon as I bought the Canon Rebel T3i, I was so incredibly excited, mainly due to the fact that it's got a flippy screen. Like, I was thrilled to find out that this thing had a flippy screen. And I can see myself. I could hold it from any angle. This is weird angle. I could hold it and be like, oh, yo, what's up, everybody? I could vlog. And I still probably would use this as a vlogging camera if it had good autofocus. I didn't have to manually focus every dang thing. It's still got incredible 1080p footage. I still suggest this for beginning filmmakers, and I still love using this camera to this day, especially because of the Canon color science. Now, my only issue with my current camera, the Sony a7 III, is the fact that it is not a flippy screen or a very angle screen. It's a tilting screen. Now, it's more mobility than the fixed screen that I've had in the previous two cameras, but I still can't see myself. But luckily this has Wi-Fi capability, so I can hook it up to my phone or to my laptop or to this really old 3rd generation iPad that I've had in my family for quite some time. It used to be my mother's, it became mine. I've used this for years, and now I use this only as a camera monitor. That's all it's used for. And it's incredible. I can see my ISO, my shutter speed, my white balance. I can see if I'm recording and how long I've been recording, and even though the preview is a bit laggy, that's perfectly fine. As long as I can see that I'm centered in frame like I am here, I am perfectly satisfied. I don't need a perfect preview. And I can see that I'm filming in log, and it looks phenomenal. And I have no issues with this at all. And it's keeping up with the data transfer of a 4K image. It's incredible. If you have an old tablet like this and you're like, oh, I have no use for it, but you don't want to get rid of it and you need a filming monitor and you got a Sony camera, download the Imaging Edge app, or Imagining Edge, yeah, Imagining Edge app, or Imaging, I don't remember. Their app. This one was called Play Memories because of how old this thing is, and that's what it used to be called. And hook it up. This thing is incredible. I love using this thing. It's reliable, and I've had no issues with it at all. And I've been shooting like this for the last, since August, and it's November now, so last 2 months, 3 months or so. I love this setup. It's absolutely incredible, and I don't need a flippy screen at this moment. I'm perfectly fine with a tilting touchscreen. And yeah, that's the majority of my current film setup. There's nothing super exciting, nothing too special about it. It's just quick, easy to take down, easy to set up. It takes me about 5 minutes to set up and takes me a whole lot less to take it down. And so it just makes life so much easier. So thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Click that notification bell to be notified of all of my new content, and I'll see you all in the next video.